So both teams now can look forward to Sunday, the Carabao Cup final at Wembley. Looking forward to it, but for me last night, quick look back on what happened. Obviously Newcastle won 1-0 at West Ham on Monday night. Last night Liverpool faced PSG. They will have 24 hours less preparation time than Newcastle, but ultimately last night saw them go right to the wire, extra time and penalties. A lot of physical demands coming from that, but I think more importantly, the mental strain of that as well, the disappointment they're going to have to overcome. They're all little things, are the straws that we are clutching at really? Does it make it any easier? Does it make the task any less daunting against Liverpool? Well, I think last night showed for me that, Liverpool, they're not completely unbreakable at the end of the day. They were 1-0 down against Southampton at the weekend as well. So I think there were some cracks to be exposed as PSG discovered, and they're not the team that are going to be all conquering. They're not going to win the treble now. They can still win a double, of course, but I think ultimately for Newcastle supporters now, they'll be feeling that this gives Newcastle what you would say a little boost, a little bonus, but as I said, doesn't make it too much easier. I suppose if Liverpool had been turning up at Wembley on the back of beating PSG and making it into the next stage there. Most importantly for me, Newcastle go into this game on a high, having beat West Ham 1-0. Just give them a little bit of a confidence boost, to give them that exactly what they were needing. I was talking to Eddie Howe after the game, and basically he said that he felt that Newcastle have got everything that they wanted from that game at the London Stadium. The clean sheet, the win, the confidence, there was just so much good about that game to really take into Sunday, and I think that's going to be so important now. I think there's a lot of talking points going into the game selection-wise. I'll come on to that in a moment. I'll give you what I think the 11 will be. Whether I agree with it or not, that's another matter. I'm just going to say what I think the team will be on Sunday. So we'll come to that in a little while. But going back to West Ham, I thought it was really important that Bruno Guimaraes got back to the player that we know he is. Fantastic goal, fantastic moment for him to break the deadlock the way he did. He stepped up. It was a real captain's moment, I thought. And I think now moving forward to Wembley, that's just absolutely perfect for him. Bruno was devastated last time at Wembley. The tears were flowing. But this time, gives him another opportunity to become the legend that, he keeps talking about. He's said that a few times now, hasn't he? That he wants to be a legend at Newcastle, and that's basically what he's going to try and do. So, winning the cup would put you on the route to that. I was talking to people close to Bruno in the last 24 hours, and I said, you do realise that if you do score a goal like that on Sunday and Newcastle win the cup, then they're probably going to be building a statue of you somewhere outside St James's Park. Another big plus was Harvey Barnes, his performance. Yes, he didn't score. He had some good clear-cut chances, but he got the assist. He got that, that is what he is in the team for, to assist. Obviously, he weighs in with a few goals as well, but that was a nice moment for him and just the perfect step, as I say, another little boost going into Sunday that he was able to tee up Guimaraes for that goal. So, yeah, it was a really impressive display from him, and with Anthony Gordon suspended for this game, he's pretty much a tailor-made replacement to come in and do well. And he's never, his form's been up and down, but I think he's had some very big moments in a Newcastle United shirt. Scored a few good goals last season, some important ones. He's got 5 goals this season. With 10 games left and the Carabao Cup final to come, he has got an opportunity to really brush up on his stats this season. And for all the injuries, he had a thigh problem. He could really end this season strongly. And I think that's got to be one of the aims now for Harvey Barnes. I think he'll believe that, he can add to his CV by winning the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. And he's going to be a really important player. So I'm going to come on to that team now, what I think the team could be at the weekend. But before I do that, I think it's worth, delving into a couple of other positions in the team. First and foremost, I think defensively it almost picks itself really because of Lewis Hall's injury. And, you know, Livramento did okay at left back the other night. I know there's a few critics for him, but for me, he did okay. He's not the answer long term, but what else can Newcastle do? Could they throw Matt Targett in there? I'm not sure they will, but as I say, I'm going to come on now to the team that I think will be facing Liverpool at the weekend. So I'm going to start at the attack. I'm going to start from the front, if that makes sense. And I think one of the first names on the team sheet will be Harvey Barnes at the weekend. Just based on a couple of things I've said in this, I don't think Newcastle have got any other real option, but I still think that he's going to be a key player. I think he'll start on the left. Alexander Isak obviously in the middle, got through that game at West Ham the other night. Okay, didn't do as well as he would have liked, but then again he didn't get much service, and he looked pretty frustrated a couple of times, throwing his arms up in the air. But yeah, Isak's going to start, obviously. That's a pretty easy one. And then on the other side, it's going to be Jacob Murphy, who again had his ups and downs at West Ham, but in the end, you know, got through it, delivered a couple of crosses. I'm sure he'll be hoping that he can do something at Wembley. If you remember, going back 2 years ago, he had a shot that whistled past the post late on at Wembley. You know, had that gone in, it would have been a great consolation for Newcastle fans travelling down there. But yeah, it was one of them where it just wasn't Newcastle's day. But yeah, Jacob Murphy will play on that right-hand side, I would imagine. And then the midfield, Bruno Guimaraes, man of the moment, scoring at West Ham. Joe Linton back, no threats of any bans for this one. He'll start, and Sandro Tonali on the back of another good performance at West Ham. Yeah, he'll be in there. So that'll be your midfield. Your back four, yeah, Tino Livramento. As I said, I don't see Matt Targett coming in instead for this one, although he would be the natural left foot. I don't think he's played enough minutes, and I certainly can't see him being thrown in for a cup final. I think there'll be Livramento. I think there's been an experiment there in the last couple of games since Lewis Hall was confirmed injured. So yeah, Livramento for me on the left. Dan Burn in the middle with Fabian Schär seems pretty straightforward. No Botman, so that would be the two in the middle. And then right back, Kieran Trippier, you know, captain material. Yeah, he won't wear the captain's armband, but I would imagine if it does go how we all hope, then I'm sure he'll be second in the line to lift the cup, if not him and Bruno lifting it together. But, you know, I'm getting a bit carried away there, I suppose. But yeah, Trippier will play, and then on to the goalkeepers now. Well, this decision between the posts is going to be keeping Eddie Howe up at night, basically thinking about it. He won't want to let anybody down, but I do think he might go for Dubravka, despite Nick Pope playing in the last 3 Premier League games. Not 100% sure if that will be the case. This is just me going off my gut instinct, but I was surprised to see Pope start the other night, and that just made me think, was there a bit of mind games going on? Fair play if Nick Pope does start. He was suspended for the final last time. It would be great for him, and I'm pretty sure there's not that much between the two keepers. I think Nick Pope showed the other night that, you know, he is international standard, in my opinion. He could easily play for England in some of the games that they've got coming up, but I just think that Dubravka might be the man that Eddie Howe turns to for his calmness, and yeah, it's going to be a hammer blow for whoever doesn't get picked in that game. But yeah, Dubravka, I just have a feeling that he might be the one that starts. As I say, I haven't got that 100%, but just the way it's been going with the keepers rotating and Eddie Howe relying on that calmness, yeah, Dubravka may well be between the posts at Wembley, but we will see. Before I go, I'm going to show you the Chronicles Wembley special. Give you a look at that. Make sure you grab one. I'll put the link in the bottom of this video for everyone to jump on. Just £3.50. It's got everything in there. Dan Burn interviews. It's got Bruno Guimaraes, Eddie Howe and Joe Willock, and a bit from Jason Tyndall as well, and a lot from our columnists also, including a piece from myself about trips to Wembley down the years. But hopefully this one will be a collector's item. I'm sure there'll be another one getting released if Newcastle win, but ultimately I'm going to put the link below. Please buy one, and look forward to seeing you at Wembley very soon.